Hi everybody. One of the key factors of releasing a great video that holds the audience's attention is to make sure that you have a strong physical presence. So for this reason, today we're talking about how you can have the best possible body language while on camera. Let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Liz and I release videos every Tuesday talking about how you can add video to your business. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you never miss any of my future content. Now, we know by now from watching hundreds of videos ourselves that when the person who is releasing the video has strong body language, then it makes it a pleasure to watch the whole video. On the other hand, if they do not pay attention to their body language, then often the video ends up being either boring or distracting and then completely taking away from the intended message. That's why today we want to talk about some of the more common mistakes that people might make when they are releasing videos and working with their physical presence. And we're going to talk about some ways that you can overcome those and make them better. So let's get right into it. Now, right off the bat, let's just acknowledge that every single human being has a lot of involuntary gestures that they don't even really realize they are doing. There might be gestures that you have that you know about, so then you can actively work on minimizing those if you think they're distracting. Not only that, but in fact, when we are creating videos and we are the only thing on the screen, don't forget that all of our movements and facial gestures and all of that just become maximized, because in fact, we are the only subject of attention there. This is why we might not notice these challenges that we have as much if we are standing on a stage and speaking, for example. When we're standing on stage and giving a speech or a keynote address somewhere, then there's a lot of other things for the viewers or the people in the audience to make note of. Everything else on the stage, the backdrop, the other people, just the little noises they hear. So all of the little gestures that we have just become minimized at that point and not such a big deal. However, if you intend on using video for your business and you want to get better at it and you want to hold your audience's attention, then it is absolutely critical that you spend time practicing the best body language and the best positioning and postures. So let's jump into our first tip for today. The first tip is to prioritize having a relaxed facial expression. Now, I won't necessarily say that you should smile the whole time because I appreciate that some subject matters might not actually do well with a smiling face if it's something of a more serious or somber nature. However, a relaxed expression is a priority. You need to actually be intentional about this because it just sounds like common sense. Oh, just be relaxed when you're on camera. But in fact, you won't believe the number of people who do not look like they are relaxed. If you are feeling that stress of being on camera, then that will absolutely reflect in your face. Not only that, but it will stress out your audience too. That's just the human psychology. We always mirror back the expressions of the person that we are looking at. So your audience wants to get a sense of how you feel about being there and putting out this video. Do you feel happy about it? Are you passionate about the topic? Are you relaxed about it? Or are you feeling completely stressed and strained out? This is why we need to make it a priority to intentionally show up perhaps with a smile. Usually when I record a video, I start smiling even before I press record. I do not wait until I press record and then start reminding myself that I need to smile, then put a weird smile on my face and then get into it. That ends up being totally unnatural. Instead, start smiling in a relaxed manner first, then press record so that you're already in that mood. This all makes a world of difference. If you think that you have a tendency to lose your smile as the time goes through the video that you are shooting, then it's as easy as sticking a tiny little post-it note right next to the camera lens with a picture of a happy face or a smiley face, just to remind yourself to do this. Once this becomes a habit, then it becomes far easier to do naturally. Don't forget that video is like a conversation. If you were sitting at a coffee shop with someone with a completely somber expression on your face the whole time, that would reflect back in the mood of the person who is sitting with you. So the same is true for smiling. So be intentional about ensuring that you have a smile on your face throughout as much of the video as possible, mixed in with just a general relaxed look. This is something that you can practice in advance, and then when you are recording yourself, watch it back and make note as to whether you actually look relaxed or not. Our next point is to maintain eye contact at the proper eye level. So this means before you start recording, take a look at the device that you're about to record on and find the lens. This is often a problem when people are shooting Instagram stories, because the thing about Instagram and Facebook stories is that we have a tendency to hold our smartphone in front of us and then look at our own face on the screen while we are recording. So for the viewer, that gives a completely off eye contact look. In fact, you are meant to be looking right at the camera lens, and on your smartphone, that lens is not on the screen. That's going to be a tiny little dot, probably in the upper left corner of your device. So find the lens first and then practice looking directly into that. I agree that it is a weird feeling, because when you see your own face on the screen, you have a tendency to want to look at a face. That's just the human reaction. It is weird to be looking at this tiny little circle that doesn't have any reaction back to us. But when you do that, it gives the viewer the appearance of you looking directly into their eyes. That's what makes the greatest connection and doesn't give this off-kilter type of a look. On the other hand, if you're using the back camera of your device, then this becomes far easier because there is only the lens there to look at, similar to if you're using a DSLR. Now, eye contact becomes even stronger when your camera lens is almost at the same level as your eyes. Sometimes we see videos where people are looking down into the lens or up into the lens. This is always a mistake because it gives our own body shape and facial shape a different look altogether, and it makes the viewer look like they are either watching us while we sit in the basement or that they are in the basement watching us while we're upstairs. It's not a pleasing appearance. So do a few tests of that to make sure that your camera is actually at eye level or just a tiny bit higher than your eye level, just by about this much, and that'll give the nicest, cleanest appearance so that it looks like you're looking right into the viewer's eyes. Now, another important aspect of body language is what to do with your feet. We have seen people creating videos where they are moving all through the frame and it becomes highly distracting for the viewer. If you're someone who has any experience giving real-life presentations on stage or in front of a group of people, then you might already have this habit of walking around a little bit or just adding a little bit of movement to your presence. This is going to be a problem when you are on video. It is going to be hard for you to stay fully within the frame if you end up walking or moving in any way. Sometimes we see people shifting from one foot to the other, or they might just involuntarily be swaying a little bit just to get over their nervousness. These are all gestures that we might not even notice when we're actually recording. For this reason, if you think that you might have an issue of moving a little bit too much when you're shooting a video, try to intentionally remember to keep your feet grounded. You want to just stay firmly planted where you are, and if this is really a challenge for you, then you could also try shooting while you are sitting. Find a chair that's at the right height so that you can adjust your tripod and then just sit. That way, the only thing that is going to move is possibly your hands while you're gesturing, but then you can very easily get over this habit of stepping out of the frame. Now, a very common physical stance for people who do a lot of recording on the webcam of their laptop is that they might have a tendency to slouch. And this is purely because while they are recording, they may feel an inclination to just lean against the desk while they are talking, and that's what gives the slouching appearance. So there's a couple problems with this. First of all, you completely lose the eye contact because now you're looking down into the webcam, and the shadow of your body is going to cast light across the camera, which is supposed to be well lit. Not only that, but it's just unpleasant to watch somebody slouching through a video. So there's a couple things you can do to combat this. For one thing, prop up your laptop on top of a couple of books or a small box so that it is now at eye level so that you don't feel the tendency to hunch over it. Secondly, beware of how you are actually seated in your chair. Don't do the mistake of trying to lean back against the back of the chair so that you look relaxed and try to combat the slouching. Because in fact, the leaned back look is equally unpleasant. Instead, just remind yourself over and over through your presentation that you want to keep your back away from the back of the chair and have your spine straight. If you feel like you have a tendency to slouch a lot, it's as easy as sticking a tiny post-it note near your webcam so that you can remind yourself to just sit straight. Now we're taking a quick break here so that I can remind you of two things. First of all, did you remember to subscribe to this channel? I think you should do that right now. Second of all, I have a free resource for you in the description of this video, so make sure that you go and look for it. Now back to the video. Now, the next thing that we want to talk about is your hand gestures. Now, I am well known for having lots of hand gestures whenever I make any video, but in fact, these are my natural hand gestures. If you come to a coffee shop with me and we sit there and chit chat, you will see me doing this even there. So in fact, I am taking my natural hand gestures and I am just keeping them in the video. So when you are recording videos, there's a couple different stances and gestures that you want to be aware of. So we know by now that you do not want to be crossing your arms over your body in any way. It makes you look defensive and it also cuts off that connection and that warmth between you and your audience. You might be wondering, what in the world do I do with my hands? You don't just want to be stiff at your side. Well, in fact, it is a great thing just to keep your hands at your side and then let them come up only if you are naturally gesturing. You don't have to force any gestures. If you spend the entire video with your hands just casually relaxed at your sides, that's perfectly fine. You don't want to do anything like shoving your hands into your pocket or crossing your arms behind you just with the effort of trying to keep your hands still. Concentrate on just relaxing your hands and then just leaving them comfortably by your side. This is why I, in fact, am a big fan of using some light hand gestures. What is wrong with indicating the motions of what you are thinking and just being passionate about what you are talking about? Not only that, but if you are recording close to your device or if you're using a webcam, if you find that you wave a lot, then every single time you do that, your hands might in fact be going across the lens, which is going to be highly distracting for your viewer to see. So try to combat that by keeping a little bit of distance between you and your recording device so that even when you wave, it doesn't end up taking up the space of the whole screen. But I always encourage you just to use your natural body movement. This is how each of us develops our own personality while we're on camera. We do not want to look like robots and we do not want to look cookie cutter. You mainly want to avoid overly repetitive gestures. There might be some things that you do that you don't even notice that you are doing. I once watched a video where the gentleman was doing this with his finger for almost 8.5 minutes, and I wasn't sure why he had never watched back that video before releasing it on the internet for millions of people to see. So if we have a gesture like that we just kind of keep doing over and over and over through the video, then of course we need to try to minimize that, because even though it's harmless in nature, it would be absolutely distracting for a viewer to watch. Now, there's other movements that people naturally do that actually become quite exacerbated when they're on video. Once I saw this gentleman shrugging his shoulders the entire time, and I could tell that he was just doing that just naturally as he was speaking. But when you're watching someone shrug their shoulders for 5 minutes straight, then shrugging the shoulders becomes the only thing that you become fixated on. So be careful about those type of movements, because the things that you might naturally do in real life that people don't even notice, they sometimes just become completely maximized when they are on screen. So you're going to keep track of all of those type of behaviors and minimize those. Now, if you have ever watched a video released by someone who has amazing body language and they look relaxed and confident and happy about the subject, and it is a pleasure to watch them, then believe me when I say they practiced to get there. People don't just wake up and start doing this naturally. And nobody likes to hear it when I tell them that they need to practice, because in fact they want a magic pill to solve all of these camera issues. If such a pill existed, my friends, we all would have swallowed that a long time ago. Instead, what I recommend is that throughout the week, just record on your own smartphone about 60 seconds at a time of yourself speaking about something, and then watch it back with a critical but positive and optimistic eye, meaning remind yourself that any single awkward gestures that you might see there in the playback are all things that you can work on minimizing and improving. So don't beat yourself up about them or feel harsh about them or go off on a rant that you are awful on camera. Instead, make note of what all of those things are. Ask yourself all of the things that we asked ourselves during this video. Are you smiling? Do you look relaxed? Are you waving or gesturing naturally? Are you standing fairly straight and not slouching? And do you have good, strong body positioning? Consider all of these things and watch these videos back yourself. This is absolutely the best way to test a real life experience of what the viewer might be seeing when they watch you. Now, before you go, make sure that you grab the free resource in the description below, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. This is another video that I think you're going to love that is really going to help you to get on video and add it to your business. We want to see you showing up for your ideal customer, looking and feeling relaxed and sharing a message with them that is going to help them. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you want more tips so that you don't have to wait until next Tuesday's video. So until next time, take care.